The Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Arkansas, Tim Griffin's on the line. Tim, how are you this morning, sir?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I saw that you came out last week with a statement on the work President Donald Trump and Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos are doing when it comes to education and school choice. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, look, this is something that is long overdue in Arkansas. Now, I was praising in that particular instance the Trump-DeVos proposal, but it reflects legislation that failed in our legislature a couple of years ago, I guess it was. That was a sort of a tax credit school choice bill. What it does is basically the federal proposal that President Trump proposed and the one that we had that failed a couple of years ago. I think that was Representative Dodson's bill.
Mm-hmm.
It would have done at the state level what President Trump's trying to do at the federal level. And it basically, the setup is this: you identify some nonprofits, some foundations, 501c3s, and you give tax credits or some sort of tax benefit, in this instance tax credit, to donors, people who are interested in supporting school choice, for their donations to that entity. So I'll just mention one in particular here. So there is a 501c3 right now in Arkansas, ACE Scholarships. And what they do is they basically give scholarships to kids who could be better served going to a school other than the one they go to, and they help them go to that school financially. Well, what it would do is it would give people, taxpayers who want to donate to ACE, for example, and I'm just using that as one example, it would give them a tax credit. So you're incenting Arkansans, or in the Trump proposal case, incenting Americans to support school choice through a nonprofit. And there are many different ways to support school choice. This way in particular does not, it sort of makes moot the point that you'll hear from some people, well, I don't want taxpayer dollars going here, going there, money that would otherwise go to a public school. I don't want that going to here or there. So in this case, you've got a nonprofit that is supporting school choice, basically paying for the school that's best for the student. And, I've got a really broad definition of school choice: whatever's best for the kid
mm-hmm.
and the parents, right? I mean, we ought to be able to start with that premise, agree on that. Some kids are going to be better suited at a traditional public school or a charter public school, because charter schools are public schools. Homeschooling, private school, parochial school, religious school, whatever is best for the student is the focus that I like to emphasize. And you're going to hear some kids in the background just because I'm en route to school. But here's the point I like to make, Paul, over and over. What if I told you you can only shop down the road from where you live in the district that the government has drawn up for you?
Yeah, I got a Walmart. I got a Walmart basically in my backyard, and I like Walmart, but I like to go to Kroger sometimes too, and that's on the other side of town.
Well, what if you had a sort of an older Walmart? Nothing against that, and then you had a big super Walmart where you could get both your groceries and your traditional homewares all in the same place. And you said, I could go to the Walmart by my house, but if I go to the one on the other side of town, then I can get not only my homeware stuff, but I can get all my groceries too. And then someone said, whoa, where are you going, sir? I need to see your You walk in the Walmart, and they say, I need to see your card. You said, what card? Well, I need to see your arbitrarily drawn government card that shows this is the Walmart you're assigned to. You would be like, really? Are you kidding me? This is America. This is freedom. This is choice, right? I want to go where I want to go. What if on a even more serious scale, what if someone said you can only go to the doctor in your specific zone? Y'all ready to go? In your specific zone. You'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm going to go to the best doctor that I can possibly go to because I want to live. I want to be healthy. And they said, the government said, whoa. You got to go to the one in your district. I mean, that's what, we do this. I'm not making light of it, but this is what we do. It's freezing outside. This is what we do every day with education. We basically say, hey, this is where you live. This is where you go. Now, we've made some progress on that front with regard to public school choice, but we haven't gone much further than that. Now, there's some exceptions to that. We have the Succeed Scholarship, which is a great deal. If you have a child who may have a learning disability or some type of development disability, then there are scholarships available for them. And I think that, and I say scholarships, they can get taxpayer assistance to go where they get the best education. Here's the crazy thing, Paul. That passed, I think, unanimously. But when you try to expand that to other populations, people start voting against it. So you're like, wait a minute. You saw the value in doing this for kids that have learning disabilities or what have you, but you won't expand it. People start opposing it when you want to expand that to lower income students, or what about military? We've talked a lot about the position that military kids are in, because they can't always control where they live,
right?
Because the military says you got to go here, and so when you start to expand this and say, hey, why don't we let all kids get the education best for them? You start getting opposition, and the reason I'm talking about this now is, number one, obviously the Trump DeVos proposal, which is a great one. Basically, what it would do is the same thing I was talking about. It would give a federal tax credit, federal tax, dollar for dollar, not a deduction, but a credit for what you give to that nonprofit. So the nonprofit I mentioned earlier, if someone wanted to give $5,000 to that, they would get dollar for dollar credit toward the taxes they owe.
Wow!
And there's a limit on that. But I'm talking about it now too, and this is what I really want to mention. This bill that I'm talking about at the state level has not been filed. And you may say, well, man, it's getting late. What's the deal?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've been trying to shore up support in the drafting. And they can't, apparently they still can't get enough Republicans to support school choice, because they don't want to introduce it if it's dead on arrival. They're trying to keep it. I guess they're still drafting it to try to get it to where some of the people on the committee will support it.
Yeah.
I just say to Republicans, read the platform.
Yeah, what do we do? What do we do about that? And I'm glad. I mean, you're certainly Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin. We're talking with him right now. You're doing a great job right now, just bringing this up to the forefront, being a proponent of school choice. But I've talked to some of these legislators on the Education Committee, and the Republicans, and I just don't understand why this plank is not being adhered to, is not being supported.
Well, they're scared of this, or they're scared of that back home. And I would first of all, we got to keep communicating. We got to communicate even louder. But the facts are so convincing. choice benefits low-income kids who don't otherwise have choice. Wealthy people have choice, right? Wealthy people have school choice. What do I mean? They can choose to put their kids in this school or that school. Some of them even have the ability to move to another location, to live in the district, so that they have choice. Who doesn't have choice? People without the means to have choice.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is give people equal access to choice. So that's number one. Number two, the polling I've seen shows that Arkansans support. Have a good day, John. Love you. Arkansans support people having the ability to choose where their kids go to school. Overwhelmingly. And the idea that there's this big bear that's going to rise up and defeat people for standing up for Arkansas, it's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not true. And I will tell you this as well. A lot of teachers that I talk with support choice. I don't have a problem with choice. It's the union bosses. It's the union bosses that have the trouble with choice.
Yep.
Because it erodes their power. But the union bosses are against merit pay. I mean, they're against anything that's max of innovation. If it's not the old way of doing things, the stale, old way of doing things that kept us where we are in so many places, then they're not for it. Because that's what the union bosses. So, there is broad support, particularly when you explain to parents that, hey, we're going to take care of your child the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to communicate more, and we've got to make it known that we're going to elect Republicans who support choice.
Yep.
And I think that's what we've got to do. Parents aren't real concerned about an institution handling of a kid that's yet to be born, and the theory that, well, leave your kid in the school it's in because one day we'll get it together, and if you take them out, we won't be able to get it together. You know what I say to that?
Yeah.
My responsibility before God is my kid today, not in 30 years, today. So I'm not going to sacrifice. Parents aren't willing to sacrifice their kid today in the hopes that 30 years later you'll get your act together, right? So that's why parents won't release today. And school choice is part of that. It's really it's a solid, logically it's a solid argument.
Yep.
We just got to do a better job of educating.
You're right, and we're talking with Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin. I really appreciate you coming on, and I think innovation is key here. We can always do better, and people are afraid of change, and even incremental change, because this is only one step in the right direction. And Tim, I appreciate you coming on this morning and shedding some light on school choice.
Yes, sir. I'll mention this. Millennials and young people, and I'm not young, I'm 50, but the world favors individual choice of what's best for each individual. And you can look at the smartphone. Everybody's smartphone is different. Everybody wants to choose what they want to choose. So this idea of choosing versus being told by the government is very much a today idea. And people that fight flexibility and parental choice will be on the losing side of history. There is no question about it. Choice is coming to the whole country one way or the other, not because of me or other political people, politicians, elected officials, because parents are going to demand it if they're not already.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Hey.
Thanks for what you do, and let's keep talking about it.
All right, let's do it. Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin, everybody. While he's dropping his kids off at school, you heard him tell somebody that he loved them and have a good day, talking about school choice. I love it. Fantastic. This interview will be up at conduitnews.com. Make sure you share it. Make sure you get it out there. I think there is going to be a school choice bill actually filed sometime this week, and we'll have more on that, I believe, on Thursday.